Uh, Hi everybody. If you're watching this video, it means Wynncraft has just dropped its newest update, bringing with it a lot of new features and balance changes. This update completely revamps player housing to have way more features and accessibility, rebalances Assassin to be much more fun and fluid, and introduces some other notable additions I'll talk about later. At the time of this video coming out, this update is only on the Hero Beta, but should hopefully be on live servers in a couple of weeks. Now, this update doesn't have an official name, it's just called 2.0.2, but since that's too long of a name, for the purposes of this video, I'll be referring to the update as the Player Guild Housing Assassin Rework Class Balance Update, or PGRBG for short. Wait, that's actually a stupid name. So the main feature of this update is the completely revamped housing system, which is something I've advocated for in the past, and I'm happy to see nearly all of my desired changes implemented. First, now there's two types of housing: player housing and guild housing, with player housing being tied to your personal account, while guild housing is for your entire guild and accessible 24/7. This is super nice so that players don't have to dedicate their own personal island to help out the guild. The guild island is also significantly bigger, which should hopefully allow for some pretty sick builds later on. Speaking of size, the regular player island is now fully accessible regardless of rank. So now you no longer need a rank to access the whole island, which is great for all of you who are broke. Since this essentially means ranked players lost a unique feature of their rank, this deficit is made up for by allowing players to have multiple islands. Also, if you have VIP Plus or higher, guests will be able to join your house even when you're offline. You can also dedicate different regions of your island to have unique roles, but to be honest, I don't really know how this works. Maybe I'm just a little dumb, but I know this feature could do a lot once I figure it out. You can also play music on your island now, but this is limited to the Wynncraft OST, so unfortunately you will not be able to play Caramel Dancin' for the time being. There's also a new feature called the Builder's Toolbox, which may look confusing at a first glance. But don't worry, it will also look confusing at a second glance. And a third glance. Basically, this feature allows for world edit on your own island, which is super helpful, even if I don't entirely understand how it works just yet. What else? Oh, yeah, there's a lot. You can upvote really cool islands now, so now the houses of quality appear near the top of the list. There's also a couple new NPCs. One of these is called the Misc Bucket, which allows you to store miscellaneous items like quest and event items on your house to free up some bank space. Even if you have the bank space, you should still buy this NPC anyways, because look how cute this looks. There's also board messages, so now you can leave cool messages for all of your friends. And for the final housing changes, there's now teleporters to help you with getting around the island, and interactable furniture such as chairs, instruments, and curtains. You can actually sit in all the different types of chairs, so now you can roleplay going on dates a lot easier. And yes, you can actually play the instruments, so go wild, I guess. So that's the housing update, and honestly, it added everything I asked for in my housing video and more. So I'm super excited to test this out on live servers and see what everyone builds. I'm glad I never shit on housing in the past, or that would look really bad right now. Uh-oh. The next main part of this update is the Assassin update, which reworks some of the fundamental abilities and overall allows for more fun gameplay. Beyond some general quality of life changes, Assassin has been buffed, but not as dramatically as you might have been expecting. Vanish still has a 5-second cooldown and is unlocked through the ability tree, but a lot of the other abilities for Assassin have changed to be much stronger. Trickster in particular got a much needed buff through making the clones better at blocking damage and lowering their cooldown. And Trickster also got 2 new abilities. Distraction is the first of these abilities and basically just lets you lower enemy damage and reinforces Trickster as the tankiest Assassin archetype. The other ability, Bamboozle, is way cooler though, as it lets you teleport forward and create an explosion when crouching and casting multi-hit. This ability only works if you have clones active, but is super strong regardless. Even though this is primarily a damage spell, funnily enough you can use this ability as a mobility spell for vertical distance pretty easily. Bamboozle also doesn't cost any mana to cast and does a ton of damage, so this ability single-handedly makes Trickster way more viable. However, it wasn't just Trickster that got some new abilities. Acrobat got Pirouette, which launches you into the air when you dash through enemies, and adds even more mobility to the most mobile archetype in the game. I really like this ability because it makes flying even easier. Flow State is the other ability, which increases your damage after you land 60 hits. I'm not sure who's going to be taking more damage, the enemies in the game or the nerves in your wrist, considering how much spam this requires, but either way, this is a solid ability all around. Dissolution is the only new ability for Shade Stepper and gives you a brief damage resistance when you enter Vanish. When I say brief, I do mean brief. This buff only lasts half a second, which I'm sure is relatable to many of you watching this video. The timing on this ability is very precise, but gives Shade Stepper way more survivability. That's all the major changes for Assassin, but don't worry non-Assassin players, the content team didn't forget about you yet. Mage in particular received buffs all around, the most notable being a buff to the most useful ability. Yeah, that's right, I'm talking about Arcane Speed. Now it has a duration of 4 seconds instead of 3. Pretty broken, I know. Ice Snake also does more damage, so that's cool. Lightbender's orbs do way more damage, like a lot. Lightbender feels way stronger now as an independent archetype, so you don't need to combo it as much with Riftwalker. Thunderstorm does the same amount of damage, but attacks faster. So yeah, if you're a mage player, I'm sure this update will be pretty great for you. But if you're an archer player, then a bit of a different story. Arrow Hurricane, Precise Shot, Guardian Angels, and Frenzy all got nerfed, so sucks to suck, I guess. Honestly, these nerfs aren't super noticeable, and considering how much damage Archer was doing in endgame content, I'd say these nerfs are pretty deserved. As long as Warrior didn't also get nerfed, I really have no issues with these changes.
I have a question.
Salted.
Why?
Yeah, so Ragnarok got a bit nerfed in both damage and duration, which, to be honest, makes me a bit sad, but they also buffed Fallen through a 20% damage increase to Enraged Blow, through the new Better Enraged Blow ability, so I guess it evens out. Battle Monk also got some buffs to Heavy Impact and Flying Jab, but the vertical range of Whirlwind Strike got a bit reduced. I guess Warrior is basically the same. But you know, let's talk about the only class that actually matters. That's right, I'm talking about Shaman, baby. You can now get Vengeful Spirit with Mask of the Fanatic, and Blood Sorrow got nerfed. Sorry if you were expecting more. Well, that's all the class changes, but there's 2 quick features left in this patch I quickly want to talk about. There's now a subscription service for Wynncraft called the Silver Bowl subscription, which lets you get some decent features in addition to your rank. These features mostly relate to cosmetic perks like crates and armor, but also give you access to the Hero Beta. So if you want to play the Hero Beta without spending like $70, maybe consider the subscription. Now normally I'm morally opposed to all subscriptions, but the bull is pretty cute looking, so I'll let it slide. Plus, the content team releases quality updates like this for free, so if you want to support the server, this is a good way to go about it. And the very last thing in this update is the new Isle of Fiction. You can get to this island through the Sea Skipper, and it'll take you to a new island where you're able to buy all the seasonal event items in case you missed anything you wanted. I really like this change as it's going to let players get event items without needing to log on every day. So anyways, that's the update summed up for you. This seems like a great update, and I hope you all enjoyed as much as I have. But they still haven't added an NPC marriage system yet, so I'm going to have to give this update a 2-star review on Yelp.